This is a collection of new rock releases, specifically from the past month or two. I've picked most of these songs from various Spotify playlists like Release Radar, New Noise, and Mara, so I'm not going to say there was a large amount of research that went into this. I just like gathering up what I think are standout tracks and wanted somewhere to put them. Before we get started really quick, there were a few notable releases these past few weeks I should probably mention. The Smashing Pumpkins put out a 25th anniversary edition of Machina, which was the album that followed Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, which was their most popular album. There are a few new tracks on this edition, and Speed Kills is the one I've enjoyed the most so far, although I haven't listened to it all the way through. Also, this might be old news, but 9 Inch Nails released their soundtrack for Tron Ares, which I don't know much about, but the singles I've heard have been pretty good. As Alive As You Need Me to Be sounds like a song you'd hear on any past 9 Inch Nails album.
Every morning is the same old thing.
The first song on the list, number 10, is Guess I'm Falling in Love by Spoon. This song came out about late August of this year. The band writes a good mix of genres. They write some classic rock, some post-punk, as well as some songs that sound like something David Bowie would write. This song is a bit different than that, though. It has a fuzzy, almost Eastern-sounding guitar riff with vocals that are sometimes spoken word and sometimes sung.
I want you to be here right now.
After finding this song, I checked the White Lies Spotify page and found out they have a pretty large following. Their first and most popular album, To Lose a Life, came out around 2007, and they've been releasing music fairly consistently up till now. Some of their songs sound more like an 80s ballad, and some sound like Franz Ferdinand, and I would say Keep Up is more of the latter, although I'm not sure how to categorize it. Next is Ivy Tree by Venus Girls. I'd say there have been a lot of groups in this same vein popping up in the past couple of years. Venus Girls is an all-girl rock band that formed in 2017 and has been releasing singles and EPs about every year since. Their latest two songs, 18 Crows and Ivy Tree, are very goth, almost in the same vein of something Evanescence would put out. When I first heard this song, I thought the band was British, but they're Australian. They're not British. This song comes from the EP Throw Me a Bone, which is their second release after their debut single Year of the Dog. They have a similar sound to the Bass Drum of Death, which is another alternative band that has been releasing music lately. They're actually friends with Royal Blood, which is one of my favorite bands. I believe they've played several live shows together. So I would recommend both of those bands as well, but we're not going to talk about them in this video. Yeah, the vocals on this song have a slight distortion to them, which I think is a really nice touch, and it's overall just a very solid alternative rock song.
Everyone is a liar and a deceiver.
The first album by Twisted Teens, which was a rough blues and garage rock record, released late last year, and Everyone is the first single to come after that album. The lead guitar, I think, sounds like it could have come from an old-timey bluegrass song, if I'm naming the correct genre. But it's in a Johnny Cash style song instead, I think, and has an electric guitar behind it. I think I described that correctly, but it works really well, and it's a very good song. Next is Break the Girl by Florence Road. Florence Road debuted with the song Another 17 in 2022, and everything released since then has been for Fallback, their most recent EP and first full release. The songs range from acoustic to fully electric and cover different styles of rock, but all of it has a cohesive style. While doing research for this video, by which I mean reading Wikipedia pages, I found out the band recently opened for Olivia Rodrigo, who is definitely not a rock artist, but has one song that is pretty good when covered by a punk band. Florence Road is also apparently very popular on TikTok, and they've recently signed with Warner Records as well. I don't think there's any history to this artist that I know of other than he decided to upload a couple of songs and now it has a few thousand listeners. I was going to do more research, but I needed to create an Instagram account to read more about him, so I decided to just leave it at that. Numbers Game is a simple but catchy song with some light blues influences that came out around the beginning of September. The video is not over yet, but I will say these next couple songs are a bit stranger, so if you're not one for psychedelic music, you might not find much here. Most of them are still very much rooted in rock though, so I'd recommend giving them a shot. Kula Shaker is probably most known for their cover of Hush by Deep Purple, which was used on the soundtrack for I Know What You Did Last Summer. Lots of their songs have psychedelic leanings, and this one is no different. The vocals are very reverberated, and the main melody is played by some kind of organ-sounding keyboard. I'm not sure what it is, but it's very unique. This might not be for everybody, but I've listened to the album a couple times and wanted to at least mention this song. The singer is Swedish and describes his music as Afro grunge. It's not quite psych rock, but it borrows a lot of the unhinged nature of that genre. There are a lot of styles of guitars layered on each other, and the vocals are distorted in a unique way. I thought I had at least a bit more to say about this song, but I couldn't quite find the words to describe what kind of music it is, so I think I'm just going to leave it at that and move on to the next song. ISTA has been releasing singles fairly consistently since November of last year, of which Low Fruit is the fourth. The band's debut album released in 2023, so I have to imagine a new album is coming out sometime soon. Their music borrows various sounds and styles from psychedelic rock as well as funk and sometimes even disco. Low Fruit is really just more of that style, so if you're interested, I would recommend trying it out. That's all I have. Hope you found something. Maybe I'll make another YouTube video sometime. Goodbye.